All right, it looks like that's everyone in the waiting room for now, so we will go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Rice, and I'm the Leadership Development Coordinator here at Indiana Farm Bureau. Part of my role is I have the opportunity to work with the Young Farmers Ag Professional Program across the state, as well as work with leadership development across our membership. So excited for all of you to be here today for our last edition of INFB Facts for 2021. Standing for Fueling Ag Collaboration today. And really excited to have an awesome association on here with us, the Indiana Meat Packers and Processors Association. So without further ado, I have some guests on here that I'm going to turn it over to. So without further ado, Darla, I'll send it to you.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Darla Kiesel, and I am from Daywig Meats in Hauptstadt, Indiana. And our family-owned business has been in the meat packing world for 105 years. My brother Dean and myself are co-owners of Daywig Meats. We are the third generation, and we are now training some of the fourth generation into our business. I am also the executive secretary of the Indiana Meat Packers and Processors Association, as well as the treasurer of the American Association of Meat Processors, which is our national association. And in 1 year from today, I will actually be the second woman president of the American Association of Meat Processors. So really excited about that. Brandon and everyone from Indiana Farm Bureau, thank you for allowing us to speak with you today.
And I'm Bob Kohler. I have a consulting business after quote unquote filling that retirement. Back in 2013, and I'm still feeling that, I might add. My background is over 40 years of industry experience in quality assurance, technical services, regulatory affairs for various meat companies. The last 26 years prior to moving back to Indiana in 2013, I was in Michigan and was involved with the Michigan Meat Association as a past president, and ended up being their director of regulatory affairs. Since moving back to Indiana, I've got involved with the Indiana Meat Packers and Processors Association, and continuing my role as keeping up with not being able to retire. Kent, I'll turn over to you now.
Thanks, Bob. My name's Kent Sander, and I'm the current president of the Indiana Meat Packers and Processors Association. I'm the co-owner of two businesses, Sander Processing from Celestine, Indiana, and in May of 2021, just this past year, we opened a second business, Sander Family Meat Market in St. Anthony, Indiana. Next slide, please. So with our two businesses that we have, my parents started a business back in 1988, just a small custom exempt processing plant, which we butchered animals on the field, and we took them back to our little cooler that we had with our little saws, and we cut meat in the evenings part-time. And slowly they just slowly growing business, helping farmers and doing everything that we needed to do to get by. In 2000, me and my two brothers and my dad purchased a second custom exempt business fairly close by, and we decided at that point in time we were going to take our two businesses and combine them into one, which that's when we built in Celestine. In 2003, we opened our Celestine processing plant, and we needed a state inspection program for the Celestine plant. We were thinking about doing the federal inspection, but a small meat processor has a hard time getting federally inspected. There are a lot of rules, guidelines, a lot of different hoops to jump through. So we decided to do the state inspection to help farmers be able to resell, go to farmers markets, private label, get their own labels on packages so that they can sell it to individuals. As we started this journey in 2003, we built an 8,000 square foot plant, and we didn't even use half of it. And then we just started growing, working with our farmers and getting bigger and bigger. And after about 10 to 12 years, we had farmers reaching out from an hour and a half, 2 hours away for the private labeling, just because of the farmers market deal. Another reason why we started with the state inspection is we were an hour and a half from Kentucky. So we didn't think we'd ever really reach down there that we need a process in Kentucky. As the time went on,
my only hesitation,
we were we were getting people inquiring from Kentucky that wanted us to process their meat so they could sell at the Louisville's Farmers Market, Hawesville, Kentucky, Henderson, stuff like that. So I think it was 2015 or so, we were able to join the CIS program, which enabled us to be able to ship meat across state lines without becoming federally inspected. It's a help with our state inspection program takes care of it, but we actually have a federal stamp so we can ship across state lines. As we got this, we had more and more people inquire. We're probably reaching out to 2.5 hours away from where we're located in South Central Indiana. There's not a meat processor that is state inspected like us from here to Louisville, Kentucky. And even on the other side of Louisville, Kentucky, there's not many. So we're starting, our biggest business is coming from like Corden, Indiana, Jeffersonville, places like that. Even though it's an hour to an hour and a half drive, they're driving to our places to get hamburger, steaks, fill in their individual freezers, plus the custom processing on top of it. 2 years ago, we decided to open a second place. We have a big account, Fisher Farms, who right now I'm processing 30 beef and 100 hogs a week for, and he's reselling throughout the state of Indiana. He's getting into Chicago, Kentucky, but his biggest buyer is Indiana University through their food courts. He sells about 4,000 pounds of hamburger plus ham, bacon, turkey to Indiana University every week right now through school. Before we built St. Anthony, we were able to do 50 beef and 70 hogs a week before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, we went up to 100 beef and 150 hogs, and we could not keep up at all. So that was another push to build this new place. Right now, not being fully staffed, we're able to do 40 beef and 60 pigs at Celestine, and I'm doing about 40 beef and 100 pigs at St. Anthony. So with the processors right now, everybody's backed up. We were able to book 6 months of slots for custom processing in less than a day. And that's happened. We open 6 months at a time, twice a year. And we've done this since last year, since the pandemic hit. And in one day, we can book a whole 6 months. And we've got other processors in the area. I know we're booked out till 2022. So we've been trying to do what we can. We can't compete with the big processors, but there's machinery and upgrades that all these small processors need to try to be more efficient, more effective. And that's why we've been trying to team up with people like you, the Farm Bureau, and with our legislatures and representatives and stuff like that to help out. We also do fair animals around here. We go to 13 different county fairs. In an 11-day stretch this last year, we processed 250 pigs, just because a lot of farmers don't like to take their animals back from the fair because of fear of disease spreading and things like that. So we try to take as many as we can handle to help out the 4-H'ers around there. And that's all I have right now. Next slide, please.
Okay, thank you, Kent. Let me just add one thing here that Ken is just one of the many processors that we have, and we need and so it's an example of all the processors we have. So let's go, Brandon. Let's go to the 2 more slides down. There we go, to the history. Just real quick about our history of IMPPA. Prior to 1959, it was mainly a Midwest type of situation. So we were joined together with states of Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky. But in 1958, 1959, the states broke apart and formed their own associations. So we have been around since as an independent one since 1959, and typically the purpose was to deal with the rules and regulations affecting the meat industry. Because Kentucky does not have an association, we have expanded our role capacity to allow members from Kentucky, and also even though, and again, these are just small mom and pop, if you will, very small processors as the majority of our membership, and they're typically generational. So as Darla mentioned, she's the fourth generation, and Kent talking about his family being involved in it. That's a core of our membership that's involved there. Our membership includes retail exempt operations, as Kent mentioned, his custom exempt operation, and state inspected. We also have in Indiana the Cooperative Interstate Shipment Program, which I'll discuss a little bit later on. And then, of course, we have federal inspection facilities out there also that are our members. In addition to members, we had some suppliers and associations such as the Purdue University is also a member of our group. Next slide, please. Just a little bit of history in this is looking at what the Indiana inspected, in particular from the Board of Animal Health, BOA, have involved. And you can look at a 25-year history here, or almost 25 years, and see that the total number of inspected facilities underneath BOA has not significantly increased. But what we have seen is a shift in the state inspected as far as going down. That didn't mean we lost them. That means in the state, that means that they have either moved to the custom cooperative inspection service shipment, so they can ship across state lines, just as Kent did, or they have gone to federal. So it's a step up in that respect. The key thing here is you see that we have had a big increase in the number of custom exempt facilities, up from 30 to 44 in these few years. Now, for the state of Indiana, there's 83 federally inspected processing and warehouses facilities. So that is a big number out there for Indiana and helps the Indiana economy. Another key thing that has happened during the pandemic is, as Kent mentioned, the need for local processing and local growing. The interest has grown very high on that. And according to BOA, they have currently 40 facilities asking for inspection. Now, these may be custom exempt places that want to go state inspected, or there are new facilities out there. So in Indiana, the growth is quite prevalent. Next slide, please. So again, jumping back to what our members are, we currently have 88 meat processing members in our association, and 72 suppliers. And these suppliers involve people like Timpac, who handle labels and label supplies for a lot of our members. There's also equipment suppliers, seasonings. Seasonings is very big as far as having pre-made seasonings that we add to our products. And then, as I generally talk about at the conventions, is add something a little bit extra there so it makes it your own, though. So just don't use the standard package. Cleaning chemical companies, and then people that offer operating supplies, such as the meat lugs and tugs and papers and the packaging film that we use. The 4 affiliated members, as I mentioned, include Purdue University and Farm Bureau and those sort of organizations out there. And Darla's going to get into that a little bit more. let me say this: we are a growing association. We've added quite a few members on here to our group over the last couple of years, and a lot of that has to do with some of the things we're going to talk about here in the next few slides. So I'm going to turn it over to Darla for the next slides.
So the Indiana Meat Packers, we are a very active group, like Bob mentioned. It is important to us to continue to learn. And ways for us to do that is at our annual convention. We do like to have plant tours at these conventions. We like to learn how other plants operate. What do they do well? What ways can we improve our own businesses? And by asking questions of these meatpacking plants that we visit. We also do educational sessions, demonstrations, and workshops at our convention. We discuss all topics of interest, everything from deboning a ham, new flavor profiles of sausage, humane handling, proper slaughter. Changes to our regulations or any items of concern to the meat processors.
It looks like we're losing Darla a little bit. Robert or Bob or Kent, is there any way that you guys could fill in? It looks like she just dropped off. We'll try and get her back in.
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh,
I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm pushing your broadband too, Indiana Farm Bureau. I'm fiber and I'm already having problems. So next slide, please. So at our annual convention, we also have what is called the Hoosier Cured Meat Championship. Meat packers from Indiana and Kentucky can compete in 18 different cured and smoked meat categories. Items such as hams, bacon, smoked sausages, bratwurst are all judged by industry experts on such things as external appearance, flavor, internal appearance, lack of defects, aroma, and much more. As you can see pictured, we have a very extensive cured meat competition. It's kind of bragging rights. We're trying to figure out who's the best of the best. And if I do have to say so myself, that's my ham down there in the corner. So next slide, please. So at our convention, our trade show, which Bob explained just a little bit, is very extensive. Meat processing equipment such as smokehouses, slicers, grinders, patty machines, sausage, linking, and cutting machines are all on display for the meat processors to demo. New seasoning, consulting firms like Bob, as far as laboratory testing, and even regulatory agencies such as the Indiana Board of Animal Health are available at our conventions. They are willing to help meat packers with their questions and their concerns. Next slide, please.
One of the other things we did this year was provide our membership with a food safety certification, which is called Hassup, and that stands for Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. It is a regulatory requirement that at least one member in the facility has this particular certification. And it's just a control of your operation from a food safety standpoint, where it's a microbiological or chemical or physical hazard that's going in there. So we had two sessions. We educated over 19 members, and we're currently working with Purdue University to provide that on an annual basis. And speaking of Purdue University, you'll see to the picture to the right there is Dr. Zuli handling a chicken there. And I'm not sure what she's talking about at that particular time, but the key on that is that Purdue University this year, and we're, excuse me, we're very proud of this, sponsored or offered a boiler, Purdue Boiler Butcher Basics. And try saying that fast after you're having a couple of drinks, I might add. Where it gave the opportunity for our members to attend one of 4 sessions. It was on beef processing, pork processing, lamb and goat, and then poultry. So it carried it all the way through from the harvesting, clear through the cut up and proper handling, food safety, and they touched on sanitation also. So this was an excellent training that Purdue's put on this past year, and they are currently planning for a session every year. So we're very excited about that and their outreach on that also. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Bob. And to piggyback a little bit on the last of Bob's there, in our business around here, we do not find very many experienced meat processors. So we have to do a lot of training in-house, and to be able to have something like what Purdue's putting on, even if we try to help out Dr. Zilli as much as we can, that's going to help benefit some of our people in the industry to get some experience, because otherwise it's all hands-on experience. We also, this last year, we took regional tours with our state and local representatives. We felt we needed to be part to try to get these groups to see what is actually going on in our plants, because with the CARES Act last year, there was some federal funding out there. And I think one of the biggest drawbacks was a lot of these representatives did not understand what was going on in our business and why we were so backed up and why we couldn't just work more hours. And most of these mom and pop shops are just old machinery that's been, transferred down. So to be able to show our representatives, and, we had people from the Indiana Board of Animal Health, Indiana State Department of Ag, and state and local representatives, we were able to show all these people the demand of our type of business. The supply from the local farmers is here. Any local farmer that I deal with is almost more willing to bring animals to us to reprocess for individuals than to go to the market. I mean, they take things to the market because that's where they're going to end up getting their most money. But to deal with local processors, it seems like most farmers like to do that. And as you can see in the bottom right slide, the Lieutenant Governor, Suzanne Crouch, was able to attend our last meeting, which that's our facility in Celestine, and she was able to come to our new place in St. Anthony, which had just started at that time. And, just for us to try to explain what was going on at that time and is still going on, especially with the pandemic, how it's affected our business as a positive of being able, to have plenty of work out there, but also the negative is being behind and not being able to help farmers as much as we can. So we can try to do what we can to, our main people that we work with are farmers every day, day in and day out. And, and without the farmers, we don't have what we have. So we're trying to get the word out there for that. Next slide, please.
So to finish up, just a few more things that the Indiana Meat Packers do to help our membership. Grant funding, we have a grant writer that helps us with bi-monthly updates. We are also not naive to think that the meatpacking industry is a stress-free environment. We're working with Purdue University to address mental health and agriculture, as well as the meatpacking industry. And then we also work with USDA and BOA. As you can see, Indiana Pork, Indiana Poultry, Indiana Farm Bureau, Indiana Beef. We all try to come together and work as a group because, as you always know, there's more sound in a choir than there is a single person. So we try to work together. And at that point in time, that is the end of our presentation. I'd like to turn it over now to Greg Slifer.
Thanks, Darla. I guess a great reference to the choir. As being part of the choir, I guess my question to you is, what are some of the things that the Farm Bureau can do for you all obviously we've had a great emerging relationship for the last 12 months or so as we started to understand each other and see the opportunities. What opportunities do you see for us to help you?
Yes, so it's very important to us, like I told you at the very beginning, continual learning with the Indiana Meat Packers is key. And the way to continually learn is to be active members of associations, just like the Indiana Meat Packers. So there's many farmers on this call now. I'm sure there's many more that will listen in. If you are taking your livestock or you are simply coming in and purchasing steaks or pork chops, please ask the owners of these businesses, are you an active member of the Indiana Meat Processors? It's a very worthwhile group. It's a very wonderful group to be a member of, and it's very important for these people to continue their education, and the best way to do that is to be an active member.
Great, thank you, and it works both ways. So we hope you all have that similar conversation. And believe it or not, we don't have every farmer in Indiana as a Farm Bureau member, but that's just like you. That's our goal. So thank you for that. Thank you for that guidance. A quick question before I let the audience step in here. Do you have a sense of where Indiana stacks up in terms of like number of local processors versus our surrounding states? Are we by and large the largest, or how does that play out? If you know, and if you don't, that's okay.
I'm going to turn that over to Bob. My internet connection was unstable.
I apologize, Greg. I really don't have a feel for that. As I mentioned, Indiana's growing, so I'm not sure, and I do feel that the other states are growing also with the surge in local. But our presence in Indiana, to me, is phenomenal as far as being able to process the animals. So. I feel like I talked around to your question, but that could give me some homework to do, I might add. Yeah.
No, that's fine, Bob. I was just curious because we're pretty proud in Indiana of being really active in that arena, and I thought maybe we might have some sense we get some bragging rights if that was out there. But that's fine. I guess at this point, Brandon, I'm ready to open it up, and I'm sure if we have any questions for participants, this would be the time to get them in the loop.
Yep. So if there are any questions, I don't see any in the chat right now. However, if we do have questions for any of our speakers today, feel free to type those in the chat, or you can go ahead and that reactions button down on your screen. There's a part to raise your hand. You can share, or you can raise your hand and we can call on you there as well. I'll give you a few minutes here to do that.
Hey, this is Brantley Seifers, policy advisor with the public policy team. Thank you all for being on the call today. Just as you're going through your slides, when you're at convention, you're going kind of out to these different processors. Is there any one thing that, as you see, you're going out, you're trying to see what they do right, what they do wrong, how to improve everybody kind of overall? Is there one thing that kind of sticks out that some processors are doing that maybe not others are doing? Obviously, we need a lot of money to go into this, but is there one thing that kind of really sticks out to you guys that can be a benefit to your membership?
Well, there is a very important aspect of our business that needs to be addressed, and it's very easy to notice, and it's called cleanliness. So it doesn't cost to be clean, to continue to keep your outside appearance of your business, your internal appearance, to continually rotate product. Things like that. Cleanliness is very, very important to us at Daewig Meats, as well as to the Indiana Meat Packers, to the Board of Animal Health, to USDA. Different aspects besides cleanliness, you will notice a very drastic change in equipment, like you mentioned, from smaller plants to larger plants. We are having a continual problem getting enough help to come into work every day. I know that Kent and I are both very blessed with excellent employees, but what we're having to do is purchase more extensive equipment to take care of manpower. The equipment, the machines don't call in sick, they don't need vacations and things like that. But like you mentioned, it's extremely expensive. That's why we're working so hard with grants, trying to come up with as much as we can. But it would not be out of line for a new slaughter facility to cost anywhere between $3 to $5 million, and that's not a big slaughter facility. So cleanliness and drastic equipment improvements are very important.
If I could piggyback on her just a little bit there, she's right with the dollar amount. I just built one this year, but there is equipment available that wasn't available, say 10 to 15 years ago for the small to mid-range processors. It was all made for big processors. It was big, big, big. So you can't find used equipment, that fits our size, but there is new equipment. But the price of new equipment with the computers and everything, like Darla said, is very pricey right now. So if, some of these people, some of these small processors are able, we purchased a roll stock machine probably 5 years ago, and it took the place of 3 of my workers. I didn't get rid of 3 workers. I was able to move them into a different spot. And then actually we were able to produce more volume, and then we were able to hire more people in the process. Now with the hiring process is a little bit harder, but that's where a lot of our people in our organization and the meat processors are trying to find some machines along with the people. And you don't have to have a full, college degree to run a lot of this stuff. So trying to get our employee field up there is what we're trying to do.
Got it. Well, thank you. It's all very interesting. I really appreciate you guys taking some time to educate us today.
Right. We probably have time for another question or two. So feel free to do that or unmute yourself if you have a question. In the meantime, while I do that, I am going to share my screen once more. There is a survey link to take to get your feedback about this session. So if you could either open up your phone camera and click on that QR code on your screen, or you can go to this survey chat in the link, or this link as well, and I'll type that in the chat as well for you. But I'll still leave it open for a few more questions here before we end.